Tonight on Nova Legends podcast, I have our 2022-2023 coaches panel. It's the end of Thanksgiving break, so that's the bad news. Some of us have to go back to work tomorrow. But the good news is it's basketball season. This is what we've been waiting for. Guys, welcome back. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and introduce you guys. I'm sure everyone knows who you guys are. We got a lot of titles on this call. Joining us for the first time on
Kevin, you're on mute. Can't hear Kevin.
Yeah.
Nah, leave him on mute.
Yeah, leave him on mute so Coach Sherman can talk more.
Man.
So Coach, congratulations again about your son signing at Duke. Great news. We got Mike Desmond, coach of South Lakes, won the region last year as a player, as a point guard at Chantilly, did a super job, and now is doing great things at South Lakes. We got Coach Doug Craig from Woodson. Doug has won a state championship as well. Always a tough beat. No one likes to play Coach Doug. But welcome back again, Coach. Now we got the guy in the middle of the Hollywood Squares. We got Carlos Poindexter. He's the X in the tic-tac-toe. Coach Carlos played at Hayfield, won a state championship last year. Someone said he was undefeated all year. Had a tremendous season. It was a great time. Coach Tony Bentley, my main man Tony, Green Valley boy, star barbershop guy. Tony played at Washington and Lee for our good friend Bobby Dobson.
I didn't play for Bobby. I
mean, I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry. You coach under Bobby, right?
The way I played back in the day, I couldn't have played for Bobby. We'd have been cussing each other out.
He would have cussed you out anyway. But Coach took Wakefield to I think 2 state tournaments and just done a super job there.
2.
And I got David House. 2, was it 3? Yeah.
Well, we won't say that because it's old news, but it was more than 2. But go ahead, finish your introductions.
Yeah. Well, done a super job. I got that one right. And then we got Coach David Houston. David is at West Potomac. Was a super player himself at West Springfield. Played at Coppin State. Surprised everyone and won the Occoquan. I'll get my districts mixed up. What's your district, Coach?
Patriot.
Patriot district as a 5th
Thanks
seed.
Thanks for calling it my district. Appreciate it.
I say the Patriot district.
Exactly. Yeah. Won the district. It was a huge surprise because you had a good team, but won the district and got the title. And then we got Coach Sherman Rivers. Sherman was a super player at Potomac for Coach Kendall Hayes. Played at William and Mary, then overseas. Gotten into coaching, got the coaching bug. It's done a super job building the Patriot program. Took him to the state tournament last year after winning district, winning region. Then lost to his arch rival, an incredible finish for some. But this is a brand new year. Welcome back, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I thought we'd start. Well, football season is wrapping up, and one thing that I got involved in, and Coach Rivers did too. There's a team down in Woodbridge that's just killing people, Freedom, and they're putting 112 points on the board in one game. It was just I've never seen a score like that, and it was pretty controversial. And one thing Coach Sherman had mentioned was that, look, when I played for Potomac, we put 140 on the board sometimes in basketball against our opponents. As a coach, and you guys have all coached great teams, it's the responsibility of a coach. Now obviously, football might be different than basketball, but you guys are going to be you guys have been in positions where you're killing somebody, and it's be kind of painful for the other team and the parents, supporters, and so what is the responsibility of a coach when your team is just superior to the other side and you're just killing them?
Well,
I'm gonna guess.
Well, go ahead. I'll let
Carlos lead.
I was just going to talk about because me and Julian were arguing about it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I am like, obviously I'm not rooting for Freedom when they played against Patriot the other night, but I like the way that they coached those kids over at that school. He got his job probably a year before I got mine, and I know that program was one that people had no problem beating up on when they weren't very good. So you know, that game in particular, you're talking about was 112 to 16. They scored 7 non-offensive touchdowns, which means they had a few pick sixes, a few fumble recoveries for touchdowns, a couple special teams touchdowns.
That's
And
still
it's like-
70. That's still 70 points offensively, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, but still, I mean, they averaged 65, so that's about what they would do in a regular game. So it's not my job to help you be better. That is your job. And so the thing about it is, what did you expect kids to do every time they got something? Just lay down because we don't want to make you feel bad. I would feel worse as a coach on the other side if they did things like that compared to just playing it straight up. I just, maybe that's just me. I don't know. I know that people had a lot of hurt feelings over it. I just don't understand how people like, listen, coach your team. What was it when the Patriots went undefeated that year and they were beating up on everybody? Like, it's not my job to down it. We're playing football. If I put subs in, they're playing our system the way they're playing it. You know, and we're talking about freedom. Like their football team doesn't have the same numbers that most Division VI teams have. So their backups are starters at other positions. And then you run to the part where they only can play so many quarters as JV kids dressing on varsity for the week. So it's like, what exactly did people want them to do? You know, no one wanted to talk about how Colgan didn't show up to play. Everybody wanted to talk about how freedom wasn't mercy on them. And if you ask the coach from Colgan, he coached at Freedom, so he knew it was coming. So, and that's not like they were a bad team. They went 5-5.
Yeah, not bad team at all.
So I don't know, man. I know that a lot of people aren't going to see it that way. And I know that I probably rubbed some people the wrong way down this area because, you know, there's some that are on my list of we're not going to stop pressing, and it is what it is. You know, you can only do so much talking until we got to get out here and play it for real. And that's how I look at it.
Coach Mike,
I was laughing. I'm saying,
Hey, I love Sherman. Yeah. Those cards.
I mean, here's what it is, you know. I mean,
Coach Mike, did you
just-
try to get it? You want to get in on this?
I mean, you know, basketball wise, like I don't let my kids score 100 in any game. And I've said that, like, if it was a flow of it where both teams were scoring and it just happened to be that way, so be it. You know, we've been fortunate. We've had some easy wins, and we've also been on the other side of it. Like when we get up by a certain number, we'll sit in zone. I don't get mad at another team if they put in their second and third team guys and those guys are scoring and stopping us. Well, so be it. Those kids don't get to play a bunch.
right.
So when they get their opportunity to play, I'm not going to get upset. You know, I think there's a classy way to blow someone and not a classy way. In fact, I mean, you know, Los, I told Los when he was whooping our ass, I will fight you if you don't take your guys out and, you know, you run the score up. And, you know, Los put his second group in, and guess what? They were effing really good and they scored a bunch of points. And we took that 25, 30 point L and got on the bus and went home. And I thought Los blew us out in a very respectful way. I don't do football. So I just think sports in general, if you're going to play guys who necessarily aren't your prime time players and they go out there and they're successful, well, cool, good for those kids.
Right.
You know, I saw the score, I don't follow it. But I think there's a way to blow people out classfully. I mean, Dave did it to me, I think 3 years ago, kind of the same thing where they got us on a Saturday at 12 after we had played Braddock the night before, and Dave blew us out, and he was very respectful about how he did it. I wasn't mad that his second and third string kids were scoring. That's just the way it was. You know, I think it'd been, you know, I'd been upset with somebody if they're up by 30 in the fourth quarter and your top 5 guys are in.
Yes, I agree with that. That's insane. First of all, why would you be doing that? Because you don't want them to get hurt. Second of all, like you said, that's just a rude way of going about it. But if my bench guys are in and it's 3 minutes to go, I'm going to tell them not to shoot the basketball. You know, like even you talk about sitting in zone. Why? We don't play zone. You know?
Well, just to give you a contrast, and we'll get back to basketball, but Phoebus played Oscar Smith a few weeks ago, and Oscar Smith was the defending state champ. They got up 48-0 at halftime. And in the second half, the first drive, they ran dive plays into the line using the whole clock, every single down. And they burned 8 minutes off the clock first drive. They killed the game. And so they could have done the same thing. I mean, they had Oscar.
But were they doing that because they were scared?
No, they killed the game. They just decided to, they could have made it worse and they didn't.
That's how I would have looked at it.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I think he's talking about Oscar Smith controlled the game. And
No.
No,
He's talking about Phoebus.
Oh, you
Phoebus,
saying
went
Phoebus.
48-0.
Phoebus
And he
is
said
up
they
48
started
now.
Oh, you're saying Phoebus ran the clock
So they got the ball.
without
and-
trying to actually win
No.
instead of losing by
No, they
100.
were up 48-0.
against
Oh,
the-
okay. I had it
yeah.
mixed up. Okay.
And they
all
just
right.
ran dive, they used all the clock every down, ran dive plays, first and second down. And then they did score the first drive of the second half, but they burned 8 minutes off the clock. They
So that'd be the equivalent of a basketball up 30. Let's say somebody's up 30 at half, and in the second half, you don't. I agree with we press. So if I have my second and third string guys in there, I don't want to not press them, not let them press because they need to get preparation for what it would be. But if you're up 35, 38, I don't know if I'm going to do that. I certainly have played against nobody in this call, but coaches in the area who were up 30-something points, fourth quarter, starting 5 in 2-2-1. Full court 2-2-1. No question about it. And I don't agree with that. I think if your last guys are in, I do think though that's a number though. If it's 20 points, get after it. If you're up 43 points and your second and third string guys are in, I don't see a need to go like a 2-1-2 or full court trap, and I don't see that.
No, I mean, I also think and there's been games where we've been up by a lot and I've looked at the other coach and said, okay, when you take your 5 out, I'll take my 5 out.
Keith Honore used to say that all the time. He said, as soon as they take their guys out, I'll take mine.
I mean, Los, again, I remember the look. I called you down at the bench. I said, Los, and I yanked my 5.
Yeah.
And Los goes, okay, and he yanked his.
Right.
So, I mean, there's been games where we've been up on people and they haven't taken their 5 guys out and they're still pressing us. And I'm like, okay, well then, if you're not going to surrender, then we're going to keep coming. But when you take yours out, I'm going to take mine out. And I think that's kind of an unspoken rule of it.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to say the person's name. They're not coaching anymore, so I don't need to talk about them. But they would leave their starters in the game in those situations. And then they would get numbers against the last guys on the bench. And then when we get in the district meeting, they're saying, my guy had this against your team.
Right.
So
That
now
still goes on now.
I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to do, putting my guys in, giving them an opportunity. But you're leaving guys in to get their numbers so you can come argue for them in a district meeting about what they did against us. So what am I supposed to do the next time I play?
Coach,
I mean,
Coach Bentley, you guys want in on this or?
You guys are saying everything. I mean, in basketball, it's the same way. I mean, think about it. We coach 15 guys, 12 guys, or whatever. I'm not going to only coach my first 7 guys.
Right.
So I'm going to coach everybody on my team, whether it's the fourth quarter, whether it's the third string in the game. I got to coach them the same way. You guys are right about how you beat people. I've been in that situation. I've been in those meetings where my teams were really good. And I was in the national district for a long time. And we would have teams come in the district meeting and say what they did against our team. And some of the teams in our conference through those years didn't even see my starters, but 2 quarters.
Right.
And so we didn't have the numbers, or my guys would have the numbers. So it comes that game, with certain coaches that, want to get numbers and try to get a kid on first team or second team. And maybe the kid's not even deserving, but they use you as a tool to say, well, he did score 10 points against you guys or whatever. But as coaches, I think that's why we talk about the bonding and the friendship. I think what Mike and Los did, I mean, that's perfect. You talk to each other, I'm getting Dermia had me, killing me on a Saturday one day. And he called timeout. I was like, don't take your starters out. Like, I need my guys to know y'all didn't come to play, you're going to get your butts beat. So, I mean, it's the camaraderie you have with the next coach that's down at the other end where you can talk to each other and do whatever you have to do. But there's still some coaches who got beefs and they're going to keep their guys in. That's just what it is, man. Just prepare yourself,
Nothing personal, just the way it is.
Yeah.
I think, I kind of go. The only thing I would disagree with Sherman on is I don't think you compare a professional situation to a high school situation. Professional players are 25, 26, 27 years old. High school kids at the end of the day, some of these kids are 14, 15, 16 years old. I think one of our jobs is to teach them about how when you're better than someone, you're better than someone, you don't have to embarrass them. The only thing I didn't like about the Freedom thing was they were up 84-0 halftime. They had their starters in to start the second half.
Yeah, they did.
If they come in with their second team guys are running 70-yard touchdowns, they're running. But I think we all know that coaches can control sometimes, how the game is played. If we have a big lead starting the fourth quarter, which, we've had in the past, generally I'm having my bench in, I'm having my third string guys in. We'll walk the ball up the floor. We're not going to fast break unless it's an obvious 2-on-0, 1-on-0. Yeah, you got to take those. But for the most part, we're going to walk the ball up the floor. We're going to try and pass the ball 3-4 times before we shoot. I think there's a way to do it without trying to embarrass people. And I think that's the thing that sometimes is lost. At the end of the day, I can't really control what everybody else does. I can only control what me and our team and our program does. And one of the things we believe in is we believe in just not trying to intentionally. Sorry, I have a visitor. Intentionally trying to embarrass the other team, because at the end of the day, I think teaching kids how to play and win and lose with class, even when things are going well or not going well, I think that's part of our job. And a lot of kids, they don't get that, right? The social media stuff, they want to get the hype videos and all that stuff. They want to get the likes online for making somebody fall down or something like that. And you see the kids jump off the bench when they make a crossover and the defender falls down. And our kids jump off the bench and almost run out onto the floor. And it's like, hey guys, it's just one play in a basketball game. Like everybody gets dunked on, everybody gets beat by 20 some point in their life. Everybody wins by 20. Learning how to handle those situations, I think, is part of it too. And I think that's part of, using sports as part of the education. Look, we all want to win. Everybody here wants to win a state title we want to win every game by 30 if we can. But I'm not going to intentionally go out and try to embarrass my opponent. Even guys that maybe have done that to me in the past, because at the end of the day, that speaks more about them than it does about me. I'm just not going to lower myself to that. That's just how we try to do our stuff. I don't know if that's the right thing or the wrong thing, but
I'm not saying you're wrong for that. I'm not saying it's wrong. Like everything you're saying, I'm with you on that. But what point do we talk about lowering ourselves to something else? At what point do I not let you keep doing the things that you keep doing and you keep saying? Like, where do we draw the line? Like, if I'm going to be professional, I'm going to put in my subs. I'm going to stop pressing. We're going to play half-court defense. I'm not going to start walking the ball up the court because I feel like that's just insulting to everybody. That's not how we play. But at what point do we hold that other person accountable for the things they do? And like I said, I'm talking certain situations of things, like I said, and most of it comes down to how these adults act when they're behind closed doors and the things they do to hurt children. So we're talking about the kids that the kids don't know about. Like I said, because he talked about the district meeting thing. Like they don't see your stars for 2 quarters, but then they come and say, well, my kid should make the team because he did this against your team. Or they won't vote for this kid because they feel a certain way about this coach. So it's like, so when do we deal with this situation? Like, how do we go about that? I'm not going to fight you.
Hey, Sherman, so coaching wise, here was the issue I had with what happened in that game. Especially for football, it's required, I'm pretty sure, for football that they give up film, right, to each other. I think it's required that they pass over tapes, and they do a good job of that. They must have known going, and I don't know much about Prince William football, so I'm not going to act like I'm in anybody's playbook, but they had to have known when they scouted them that I'm sure the line on the Fairfax County or Prince William underground Vegas line had to have been the 75 or 80, right? So, I mean, they knew that, just like basketball, we're getting ready to play somebody, unless it's a tournament, you show up, you don't know anybody there, you don't know, but you sometimes have an idea that this is going to be over quick, right? And so you have a plan for that. Like, I mean, you don't change what you're going to do to get it over with quick, but then you need to keep doing it. If I know that somebody didn't have a guard, or doesn't have guard play at all, let's just say, and we can trap, press, trap, steal. Now we're up 27-4 at the end of the first quarter, right? By running the same trap. Do I do the same thing second and third quarter and fourth quarter with my backup guys? And that's rhetorical. I'm not saying it's a right or wrong. I'm just saying, do you do that? Are you yourself gaining anything from that? on
Make
your
your players
end.
play left-hand. Make your players play left-handed.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but like there's certainly got to be something that you could work on,
Yeah.
right? There's certain things that, you know, that we're not very good at on our end, and certain things I'm sure that the football team wasn't very good at, certain offensive stuff they weren't good at. Why not try that when you're up 84-0 and it's the third quarter? Why not try the play that, you know,
We're talking about a team that averages 70. They just broke the state record for most points scored in a season.
their starters average 70.
No.
Backups don't average 70.
No.
So why not play your
Because
backups?
They play their backups. Their backups are starters at other positions. And so they broke a record that was set by Ronald Curry and that Hampton team. And you guys are all old enough to remember that team, right? So they scored 70 in a regional semifinal game. So if you play a team that on offense gets 70 points a game, and you churn it over 8 times and we return it 6 or 7 times, what do you want me to do? That's what I'm saying.
Hey, I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying, Sherman. I would just say, in terms of like the coaches who come in the meeting, put their kids up for first, I don't really care about them. At the end of the day, those are adults. I feel bad for the kids that are getting beat by 40 or 50. Not the adults. I get upset for the 14 or 15-year-old kids who are getting drubbed and their friends are making fun of them and all that stuff. So I always try to keep in mind, at the end of the day, those are kids out on the floor. I'm not the coach the coach isn't out on the floor getting embarrassed. His kids are. So that's how I separate those things. You know, there are some, I mean, honestly, other than Coach Desmond, I would probably not run the score up on anybody here. I mean, Coach Desmond, I would run it up. No, I mean, I feel like I have a good enough relationship with most of the coaches I play against that I just wouldn't do that. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, those are kids out on the floor. Like, you know, one things we talk about with our players and is that, hey, you know, you can win the right way. You can act the right way. It doesn't matter what they do. It matters what we do. That's just how I've always handled those situations in the past. Maybe I'm soft again, my old age. I don't know.
I'm not saying
I want to
soft.
know who whoever the coach is, like, how did he feel? Like, I never heard anyone.
There's an article. He completely understood from
He
what he
used to
said in the
coach.
article.
He used to coach for the. He used to coach for
coached
the
at
Freedom
Freedom.
Center.
Yeah, but I was wondering, like, how did he feel after that game? Like, I didn't know that. I didn't
If
know
I
that
ever
was
talk to him, I promise I'll tell you. But from everything that I have heard,
They smacked somebody the next week.
they smacked everybody. That's
No,
what I'm
no,
trying.
no,
No, I'm
Colgan.
talking about
Hogan.
Hogan
Right.
smacked somebody the following week.
When they in their game talking about let's make sure we run the ball straight up the middle because we don't want to make
36.
everybody else feel
It was
bad.
36
You know,
nothing.
like I understand what you're saying, Doug. They are kids, but at
Hey,
the end of the day, this is a competition. They keep track of wins and losses.
Okay,
So-
guys. Okay, I want to get Coach Harris in on this. I talked to Michael Harris.
Try
the
to
other
stay out
day.
of it.
Yeah, exactly. I talked to Michael Harris last week, and he just started a new job at Freedom, the same school we're talking about. Coach Kevin is starting a new job at Westfield. Now, when you guys think about what you need to be successful at a school, obviously demographic is important. If Coach Harris is going to Freedom, the kind of athletes they get, he has that box checked. That's nice. But what are some of the other things that a coach needs to be successful? I mean, obviously, like, for example, Coach Rivers probably could have put his hat in the ring, go back to Potomac, but he likes the culture that he has at Patriot. What are the kind of things that you need to be successful besides great athletes? I know Coach Thompson, Charlie Thompson, he kept changing schools. He'd follow a principal, or he want the situation that was right for him. But there's a lot of factors, I'm sure, that goes into it. But just and Coach Kevin, why don't you start with this? What are some of the things that makes it easier for a coach to be successful at a school?
Talent.
Yeah.
But aside from that, support from everybody, family, parents, administration, knowing what it takes to build a winning program as far as off-season things they need to get in, fall leagues, summer leagues, exposure events, and then just the understanding for the kids to know that if you guys want to be good, it takes place, outside the season. It's not November to February or March.
Do you feel that's different at different schools, or do you think that's something what you're talking about now is something that you can implement at most schools, or do you think there's some schools where you might get some pushback?
I think it starts with the kids, honestly. I mean, you have to have kids that want to buy in first, and parents that want to buy in to commit to a program.
Mhm.
And it can change from school to school, year to year. I mean, you see some schools are up this year, next year, then they're down the next few years. It has a lot to do with talent, but also has a lot to do with, what kids are in your building and how committed are they.
Yeah. Anyone else want jump in?
Well, I'll say I'm 19 years now at West Potomac. When I came over to West Potomac, the program was 2-20 the year before I got there. So they won their first 2 games and they lost 20 straight after that. So there was, not necessarily a culture that I would say would have been inviting to make a, solid program. But coming in there, I knew a plan was important. And one of the things that, I've been through 4 principals, and each one of my principals has understood my vision. Like I've explained to them with what we're trying to do, using the sport as a tool to teach, life lessons, and we just kind of sprinkle it in through the sport, and then having a strong booster support, as well. I know the combination of those was what was really helpful for me over at West Potomac. I think, the parents, they change all the time. So, trying to get, parent buy-in, those parents might only be there for 10 more months, and then you got a new. So, I think that's important to have those as your target. But when the school and administration understands what it is you're trying to do and you're consistent with it, for me, I made sure I tried to have some coaches on my staff that work in the building. And I know I have a really big building, and I know that it's extremely helpful the time that I've been here at West Potomac to have at least 3 coaches on my staff that work somewhere in the building. This year, I think I have four on staff, that are maybe 5 that are in the building as well. So I know those are really important.
Okay, Coach Tony, Coach Bentley. Now, Wakefield, you guys have a real sense of community there. And I remember you once told me on our interview that everyone in those stands has an opinion about what you should do. Everyone cares about that team, and they have an opinion. Is that a strong point for Wakefield, or that could add pressure for a coach coming in there?
It's been so long that I've been at Wakefield that I haven't. The pressure is not there anymore from when I first started. Think about when I first started, I was replacing a legend. Bob Belgian was there for 31 years. Wakefield is bigger than me. It has always been bigger than me, and I knew that. I grew up in that area. So I kind of knew. I knew the guys. I knew what they may have been missing, and it was just a time. In a couple of years, they'll be saying the same thing. It's time for me to go. When they started talking about Coach Belgian. Coach Belgian is still coach, but it went from the Pepsi generation to the Coca-Cola generation, or vice versa. PlayStation, so things were different. And I was young. I came in and took advantage of some of the things that I thought that the kids in that community, could use. So the pressure now is not on like me, as far as they want to win. I think every school, every program wants you to be successful. We haven't had the support. Hey, winning cures everything. When you're winning, hey, Carlos knows. Carlos seen so many new people at Hayfield. We all been on this panel. The guys been on this panel. I've been in Carlos's shoes before, and we're at a public school, so we get what comes through those doors. So it's not like we're going out recruiting and bringing in a 6'9" forward or this and that. We get what comes to the school, so we're going to be up and we're going to be down. It's how you ride those waves throughout that time, So there's really no pressure. You just got to keep doing what we've been doing, and just continue to get in the community out. And when we have successful seasons, they'll come. When we don't, they don't. It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, Coach Carlos, Hayfield's got a great tradition. One of the probably top 5, definitely in the area for over the 50 years or so that we've been following it, at least. And they really got behind your team, what you were doing last year. Does that make it easier for you to run a program when you have the whole school behind you and the support of the students like you had?
Yeah, for sure. When you got that type of support, and you're doing right by everything that you're doing when it comes to coaching and providing a great product on the floor, people want to see it. And I felt like we play a good brand of basketball where people want to come and watch us play. So it makes it fun for everybody involved. And then, like you said, everybody ended up getting behind us. And, I haven't seen our gym as packed as it was last year. And since Ronell Felton days, for real.
It's great. Yeah. Well, Coach Craig, Woodson is one of these places where it has a very strong booster club. They really support the sports. It's also a strong community in Woodson as well. And then some of the folks that are in the boosters, I feel like they were working in the boosters when I was playing. They've been around for a long time. That's got to be very helpful in keeping a strong program going.
Yeah, I think, look, if you're at a public school long enough, right, everybody's going to be up, everybody's going to be down. Nobody, it's the nature, right? You can't recruit your players. So, you're going to have some years where you're on top of the wave and then some years where you're not as good. I think one of the things that's helped us is I feel like there's a lot of consistency in the program. I mean, the school's 60 years old. We've had 4 head coaches. So I think, you read from 34 years, and Cliff Gates was there for 2 years and Mike Pflugrath for 6. And now I've been there the last 18. So there's been I think you kind of know what the expectations are. I think the kids know what the expectations are. I think the community knows what the expectations are. I think when Woodson shows up at the gym to play, they know that they're going to get, they're going to get a hardworking group that's going to give 100% effort. That's going to be detail oriented. I think that consistency, the kids know what to expect night in and night out from the coaching staff. And I think that helps. I think especially in today's age where it feels like there's so much flux around everything. Everything is microwave generation, right? It's like, what can I get now right away? I think the fact that you have those deep roots in that community certainly helps. And I think it's, looking around, I think, Tony has a similar situation over at Wakefield. He has a long program that's been very successful over a long period of time with, 2 head coaches for the last, 50 years. I mean, honestly, I think that helps. And I think in this area, particular where there's so much transition, right? People are in and out every couple of years with the changing of the government and the jobs. To have communities that are very stable, I think really helps the program. And you have to have all those other things too, booster club and principals and all that stuff. I mean, nobody's successful on their own on an island, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, Coach Mike, at South Lakes, there's been, so many great players in that building, including probably the best player in Northern Region history, Grant Hill. But they had Christy Winters on the female side and also as a coach. So many great players, so much great tradition there. It's got to be great to have that kind of culture and tradition behind you when you coach the team. I mean, you guys all have to deal with occasionally 7th and 8th graders who are thinking about going to private school. But when you have a great tradition like South Lake, it's probably helpful in keeping some of these kids in the building.
So, I mean, personally, I've been lucky, and not just with the players. Those of you guys who know me know I'm a little different. And I need to be left alone to be me. If I'm going to be my best version and get the best out of my kids, I need to be me. And sometimes me isn't always PC or, what some of the other people or school teachers are. So, I mean, I've had a great principal, great administration, and my parents have always kind of just let me be me. And that's, I mean, I blew up Coach Lansdowne and Coach Stoner yesterday, 2 of my coaches via text about, things that I need to have them do better. And, that's just being me and being allowed to be me. And I hope that helps with some of those recruiting battles of those 8th graders. We have a couple 8th graders that I would love to see come, but, they're being flirted with some of the private schools. And I don't know, just being allowed to be myself with them and each kid just genuinely getting to know me as a person. I think that's what you asked me. You froze up on my end.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just kind of winging it here.
No, that was great. That's good. Yeah. So, well, Coach Sherman, you went to a school, Battlefield, that had a great football tradition and still does. So, you built the back. You built, what's that?
You said Battlefield.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
It's all right.
But you've been able to build a great basketball tradition at Patriot. How are you able to do that? And what are the things that are most important to enable you to do that?
Obviously we had great support from the administration from the beginning. Even my interview, the panel had our previous football coach. He's not here anymore, but Brud Bicknell. He's won a lot of games in his career as a coach, and I want to say that he's now got back into and is an offensive coordinator over at Kettle Run, which is a lower division now, and I think they're undefeated. But he was on the panel, and I remember I asked him, because you never know how it's going to be, your relationship with the football coach, and and the level of athletes, stuff like that. And so you're just like, how do you feel about kids playing both sports? How do you feel about if they want to participate in something when they're in another season? And he's like, listen, I have no problem with any of that. I mean, our best player, my first 2 years at Patriot, Occoquan, Ike was first team All-State in football and basketball. His senior year, he scored 35 touchdowns. And then was also the district player of the year during basketball season. So, and then, Ja'Kai Moore was another one that played for us that, is playing in South Carolina right now. So he's living the great life. They got 2 great wins the last couple of weeks. And then even this year, Jay Randall, who's playing football for the first time, was a starter for us, all region kid. He's been playing football, so we haven't had him. It's just having a working relationship with the other coaches in the building. The administration obviously got to be in support of the things that you do. I know that we've talked about this before, and I say this all the time in our parent meetings. I say to anybody else, I do not talk to parents about basketball decisions. I just do not. I'm never going to meet with a parent to talk about why their kid is or is not playing. And my principal and my AD support me in that. So those things are important, in our staff, just overall, just really supportive of our kids. And, I just remember walking down the hall when we started to actually get things going in the beginning, and teacher would say, "Hey, great game the other night, coach." It was, those are things that I feel like help that. Community wise, we have great participation with everybody with that. So it takes everybody. And like Mike said, you got to be free to be who you are, to a certain extent. And I know that I can be somewhat interesting at times. I'm not oblivious to that, but at the same time, them being supportive of you in those things, because they know at the end of the day, you're going to do things the right way, and you're getting young men prepared to go on to the next phase of their life, if it's playing or just being an adult. So I feel like that's really important in regards to those things.
Yeah, well, that's great, Coach. Well, look, let's go through and talk about your teams real briefly. We'll start with Coach Harris, and just tell us briefly about your summer, and what you got. What are some of the keys to your season? Maybe some of your big games that you're looking at already that you have circled on your schedule.
So for my team, we are rather inexperienced. We're returning 2 players from last year's team who had significant minutes played. Our biggest game is our next game every week.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're learning on the fly. We've got a lot of young guys. We're going to start a freshman, Isaiah Brown, and a sophomore, Braden Norris, who have no varsity basketball experience, obviously, but they're learning on the fly, and the older guys are helping them along well. But I think it's our first 2 weeks are big. We have 6 games in 2 weeks, so
Wow.
Not uncommon for the beginning of the season, but it's how our kids respond to the grind of the 3-game week and how we come out of it. It could be 0-6, or it could be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But we're here for it, and we're working hard, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, good luck, Coach. Coach Houston, what about West Potomac? What do you guys have coming back, and what are some of your keys to success this season?
Yeah, thanks. We had a nice summer. We lost some key guys for graduation from last year's team. We had a nice summer. We had a really nice team camp. But then at the end of the summer, we lost one of our leaders. And so we are in a mode right now of just guard wise, finding where we are. One thing we know, we play really, really hard. We had 2 really good scrimmages. I mean, we scrimmaged Edison, who I think, would be probably the next team besides Hayfield, probably in that conference. I mean, they're really big, really, veteran squad. And then we scrimmaged Sherman them yesterday. So we certainly have, gone up against some of the best teams and see, where we are. We know we're not at that point yet, but no district championships are won in December. So we have, we play South Lakes first and, Mike first, and then we go down to Potomac and, play down there. So we're opening up really, really tough. We're going to find where we are, pretty quickly. I like our size. I like our height. I like our athleticism. We are just a team that's going to find out, what's our identity with regards to late game situations and things like that. So, I like my guys. They grind, they get after it. I know that, we have a really, we're a lot of juniors this year, but I am, aware that my freshman class is as good as any class in the area. And so we're really looking at, getting those guys up to speed so that we'll be ready to go for the next few years.
Yeah. Awesome, Coach. That sounds really promising. Coach Bentley, I know last year you had some really good outside shooting, and you had a young team last year. So what do you think about how was your off season? Not really off season anymore. How was your preparation? And what are some of your keys to success for this season?
I think everything is just like Dave said. We do like everybody else. We work hard in the off season, spring, summer, fall, trying to get it in. Finally got an opportunity to have a team this year with some experience. We got 4 guys back this year with some experience, where last year we only had 1 guy with any kind of varsity experience. So the practices are going a little bit better. They're getting after a little bit more because they understand that, if we play hard and put our minds together and play together, we can have a chance. I mean, one thing, we're always going to play hard, no matter who we have, size, whatever. Our team's always going to come after you. You're going to play hard, win, lose, or draw. We lost, some of the, like Dave, right before school started, we lost one of the guys that you said is an outside shooter. He's transferred over to Marshall. But we've made up for it. We've got guys in the program that are ready to step up. It is that next man up challenge. We return Kobe Davis, who's improved big time from last year. We'll have a starting guard this year, and Coach Willis's son, DJ, Horace Willis Jr. He'll be starting for us at the point guard. Then we got a sharpshooter on the outside, Ricardo Snyder, who's a really good shooter. And then we have an athletic guy down low for us. So he plays out on the wing a little bit all over the place. It's Seth Langford. He's an athletic kid. We too start off with a good schedule. Nothing crazy, but we are going to find out where we are early with finally we're having some experience, and we're going to get after it. I do like this bunch of group, and the thing is not about me liking them. They like each other. I think that's key, because they don't have to like me and I don't have to like them. As long as they like each other, we're going to be fine together with the things that we do. So I'm excited about this year. When you think about as long as some of us have been coaching, if you're still excited this time of the year, it's a good sign that I'm not ready to go anywhere yet. So everything's copacetic at Wakefield.
Yeah. Oh, good luck, Coach. Coach Carlos, obviously expectations are high, but on the other hand, when you have a state championship in hand, you can't take that away from you. So I understand you got some new additions, and but you lost 2 key players from last year as well. So actually 3 key players from last year. So
3.
Yeah. So how's your off season, and what are some of your keys to success? Because I know you have a tough schedule.
Yeah. I mean, all season was good, or preseason was good. I basically like split my team up in half. One thing I'll say, man, so my second, I say everyone that wasn't a starter basically was playing over at Wakefield, and we was getting our heads smacked in by every team. Like we lost every game for the most part. And it just really showed me like it's a lot of good teams out here, because I feel like my bottom 7, I feel like they're really, really good players. They're just young. But so it was a good experience for them, because they got a lot of playing time throughout the whole fall, and got to get beat up on, and they got a lot of talking points from me about what they need to do and understand why they're not a starter at this point in juncture of the season so far. So, but with that said, I feel like I got 6 guys that I really could rely on at this moment. We had 3 transfers that transferred in, and then you got the big 3 with David, Greg, and DJ. So everything goes through those 3, and then everybody else got to just pick their poison, pick their reason, try to get better, and hopefully we play Sherman and them Patriot boys on Thursday. That's looking forward to that game. We're about to see real quick if we legit or not. He about to see real quick if his team legit or not. So big time matchup. I wish it was in the state championship last year, but we was able to make this happen for the first game of the season this year. So that's all I gotta say.
That was our bang.
Well, Coach Craig, I know you had a young team as well last year. So how was your summer, fall, and what are your keys to success this season?
Well, we got to figure out a way to replace 4 senior guards that all started and made all districts. So Good luck for us on that. We got a very young group this year. I think we're gonna, we have two juniors who played a significant amount last year. One of them started for us in the middle, Sean Donovan, who I think's, one of the better post players in the area. He's very talented. He's big. He's athletic. He can shoot it. Got a good body, physical kid. And then the other junior we had played a lot for us last year was a kid by the name of Ethan Conklin, who came off the bench for us. Both those guys know what to expect out of a varsity game. And then we have one senior, Charlie Schmidt, who played a bit for us off the bench last year as well. Other than that, we got a bunch of guys who will be their first time playing. We got 4 sophomores that'll be in our top 8, 9 guys. We have a transfer from St. Stephen's, who's a pretty good player, but he really hasn't played a lot. Who's got a chance to be a good player. So we're just trying to figure it out. We have a lot of kids. They're trying to find their way on the varsity. I really don't know what's going to happen next Friday night when we open up in the Red Jenkins tournament. I think we'll be okay, but I think, it could just take some time. I would think we're going to be a better team later in the year than we're going to be early. But we have some talent. It's just a lot of it's inexperienced young talent that hasn't played much. And so, we open up next Friday night with National Christian. And then we got Osborne Saturday in the Red Jenkins. So, and then the 4th team in there will be Edison. So it should be a good tournament, be a good test for us. And then, we got a couple more non-district games, and then we got the usual Patriot District gauntlet, which is never exactly easy. So it'll be a test by fire, I think, out of the gate.
Woodson always has a great hospitality room. So that Red Jenkins Classic is always a good time. Well, Coach Mike, I know you graduated some key players as well. Jordan Scott got a lot of attention in the offseason, and it looks like he's going to be a Division I player. How was your offseason, and how about you? What are your keys to having a successful season?
Yeah, I mean, the off season was great. Let me take a second and thank my frenemy Kevin Roller for his fall league, and I don't really want to take time to thank Bentley because of Buck, but Wakefield did let us play, which was fun. And thank you to all you coaches that sent teams to our JV and freshman fall league. The preseason's about to wrap up. And you mentioned Jordan Scott and Aiden Billings. Those are 2 of our marquee players that people talk about, and they're good, and they're going to give us a chance in most games. Probably for us, it's going to be a thing where can I get Brian Kennedy and Saul Vida to consistently play well together in the backcourt. Go ahead, Dave, take notes. And when those guys are playing well together, I think we're dangerous. And then James Shunky and Jordan Corey, 2 kids who were sophomores last year on varsity, didn't play a whole bunch, have shown flashes where maybe they're ready to make take the next step in their basketball and make a good jump to contribute. And then another one of the transfers that came in, Tyler Andre, has kind of shown that we can count on him to be a contributor a little bit. But we have 6 sophomores on varsity, and we have 6 juniors on varsity and a couple seniors, and those 6 juniors and 6 sophomores are going to play. And probably kind of like what Doug was saying is, December is going to be, a nice learning opportunity for us. We're going to get baptized on Tuesday. We play 3 games next week, and all 3 teams are good, and all 3 teams are different. And, I think, SoCo, that's a fun start for a bunch of young kids. And, John Champwell has a good shooter, and then Randy in Battlefield. And I think he's returning, Sherman, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's returning 3 really good players off that team from last year.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and then no sleep because Dave comes to town with 2 kids that are 7 feet tall. So, it's going to be a good December for this young group to learn. And sometimes you got to lose to learn, and that's okay. And I remember listening to Tony talk last year, I think in the summer panel, just kind of saying, we're going to be good in 2023. And, I think this group of kids, I'm just going to have to be patient with and try to hold them to our standard. But I think we could be a problem for people come 2024, 2023, 2024. But that district play, hopefully, we haven't figured out how to be good come district play, then, you know, Kim Retzer will probably fire me and me and Buck will both be looking for jobs next year. So.
All right, well, good luck, Coach. I'm sure it's going to go fine. Well, Coach Sherman, you know, you had a great team last year. I know you have some young players coming back. You had some guys graduate as well. So how was your off season? I know you played in some tough summer leagues, and I know you did some open live periods as well. And what are your keys to success this season?
I feel like everything that we played in, we were with Los. So we were in the Capital Hoop Summer League at DeMatha, the DC Live event that was at Sidwell. We went to Philly for their Philly Live event. So we were able to play a lot of games. It was something that I thought would be good for us, bringing back the amount of guys that we were. I just remember when I was in high school and Coach Hayes was playing, and we played the Kenner League up at Georgetown when he was also running the old Metro South that used to be in the summertime. And then we were also going out to play at High Point in the summer. So we would play in multiple leagues, play so many games together in the summer that I feel like we're starting to see that in our group, that they played so many games together that they are starting to have a better feel for each other. And there's a lot of things that I don't have to necessarily say anymore, which is great. I mean, coming into last year, we had a very inexperienced group as far as a varsity team goes. And I tell you guys the truth, I'm shocked by what we did last year. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought we were gonna be good. I didn't think we were gonna be that good. I thought what we did last year was gonna be more so something this year because we brought back most of our roster. We only had 3 seniors. Clearly we bring back Nasir Coleman, who was first team All-State guard. Desmond Hopkins who's going to start now, who came off the bench for us last year, was averaging about 15 points a game during the playoffs. Isaiah Vick, who probably had the best summer out of everybody from a weight room standpoint, playing standpoint, has gotten really good. He's going to be in the post for us some, but he's not a post player. It just happens to be that way because he's a bigger guy. Obviously we were out without Jay Randall because he's playing football for most of fall, but Grady Page, another wing player we got, 6'5" left-hander that can shoot it. Caden Bates, every year we have a kid that kind of steps into a role, and Tony, you saw we got picked as player of the week a few times when we were there. He's a kid that people are gonna be like, where'd this kid come from? But when he got his opportunities, he always produced for us. I mean, he jumped into a game last year. We had some foul trouble. He got 8 rebounds and like 6 steals, and did the same thing in a game at DeMatha this summer. So I'm really happy with what we got. Key for us is just going to be able to, I made our schedule a certain way for a reason, because when you have a team that comes back that had success the year before, the thing you worry about most is them looking past the regular season and kind of waiting for the playoffs to come. And so we kind of put some games in different parts of the season that made it so they would have to focus not only with the district play, but, and I've talked to you about it before, but we're opening up obviously at Hayfield, which is a tough game. 2 weeks later, we're playing Highland Springs at the Kyle Honore tip-off tournament at Potomac, and they won the Class 5 state championship. We're playing Winston Churchill at the Governor's Challenge, who lost in double overtime in the 4A Maryland State Championship. We're playing Largo, who people are saying have the best public school kid possibly in the whole DMV. Hampton is coming to us, LC Bird is coming to us, and Western Branch is coming to us. So, and that's just spread out through the season. And then, with our own district and how it is, and Rocky and Osborne, they'll be improved. Obviously, we know what the purple guys got coming back. And, we just want to make sure we're challenging ourselves and also playing at a certain level and not looking past anything. Because we are very talented, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we're not. But at the same time, if you're not going to play at a certain level, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're looking past something, which happened to us at the end of last year, thinking about the next game instead of playing the game that you're playing.
Coach, how important is it to be undefeated? I mean, you didn't put a schedule together to pad your record. You're going to have a lot of tests.
Well,
Are you?
let me say this. What Los did last year and what we did up until the state semifinal is not normal. I want to make sure that everybody understand. I know that everybody in this panel understands that. But going undefeated is not a normal thing, especially when you play against tough teams. I mean, we had to beat Potomac twice. Obviously, we had to beat Battlefield 4 times. So I would not look at our record if we have more losses. I still think that we're a better team than we were last year. So it's more important if you win at the end instead of being undefeated throughout the whole thing, because I mean, I know Los can speak about this, but there's a certain pressure that comes with, like, man, we got to win every game. It's like, yeah, we want to win every game, but we want to win the game that matters at the end more than we want to be undefeated. So it's just, I know that it was a special thing, and obviously they were able to complete the deal going 32-0, but you guys been coaching longer than me. Can you remember the last time somebody went undefeated? The last time I remember it was Garfield, and they ended up losing the state quarterfinal. That was back in like 2000. I want to say, when was that, Tony? Like 12 or 13?
I remember Garfield winning. I know we did it in 05. We went 28-0 and lost in the semifinals against Lansdowne. So
I know there were some guys that did it at Potomac. A guy on my staff was on that team with Jason Flagler and Eric Hayes and them, and they were undefeated until the state semis. And I want to say they might have lost to maybe like Woodside or something like that, but that was after I had graduated. So just our goal is to try to be the best we can and get to March and hopefully be ready for that. And I think that our schedule and our experience with the guys that we got coming back lends itself to us possibly being pretty successful. Like I said, Dave talked about, we went over in scrimmage gym, and obviously, their guys play really, really hard. So that was good for us. That was the only scrimmage we were able to get because the other one we were supposed to play, it didn't work out. So I'm glad that we got to play against somebody that plays with that level of intensity. So our guys had to kind of meet the challenge on that. But, it's one of those things that we want to make sure that we're prepared to beat the best when it's time to beat the best teams.
I do believe, and I could be wrong because I could have missed some of the later teams, but the 77 Titans were the last Northern Virginia team to go undefeated and win a state championship before Carlos did it. And I believe Othell Wilson's Garfield team in 1980 or 81 did it as well. I believe they were undefeated. I know they won.
Like that was the year I was born. So let's put that into perspective.
Yeah, I was in high school, so those games count. So,
right.
Well, look, let's handicap the districts now. And Sherman always says I'm ignoring Prince William, so we're going to start with Prince William County. I guess some of the schools might be across the border in the Loudoun and also to Stafford. But what are you looking at? There's a lot of talent in Prince William County. I saw quite a few of the teams last year. So what do you think about the Prince William teams?
I mean, I always think that our county is obviously one of the best every year. We're dealing with a lot of northern region guys with their roots. So I know you guys tend to ignore us a little bit. It's okay. But, I mean, we're just in our district alone. We talk about us. We talk about Purple, talk about Osborne. We talk about
Osborne has the Division I prospect guard, right?
Correct. Tay Barber, who's a very good player. They got a couple kids that transferred over from somewhere else that were very good players where they were coming from. So they'll be better than they were last year, but they're always well coached.
Hey, Osborne has transfers from
OP.
They were there in the fall?
Yes. The little short guard that they had.
Okay.
And then they had a dark-skinned kid, another guard.
I didn't even realize. All right.
Yeah, so they came from there. And they were starters over at OP last season. So, and then, Champ is always a tough game when we play them. And I'm not sure what they'll have, but he always comes in with something. So our districts is tough. You have teams that are going to be improved. And then you go across on the Cardinal side. Now I see Potomac year in and year out. Forest Park probably has one of the best big guys, I want to say, in the area. Freedom backcourt is hard to find two guards that are better than those two together for sure. And Woodbridge, Courtney does a great job over there. So, our county will be tough. Obviously, our goal is to be there in the regional championship, which means, we took care of business and hopefully we can come out on top of that. But it's a lot of good players. I think that this is, especially the 2024 class. I think that there are a lot of very good Division I level kids in that class in our county. And it's been a while since it's been this many. Usually it's like one or two teams, but like you said, it's spread out. You talked about Tay. Isaiah Vick for us is getting that sort of interest. The kids over at Freedom, I know they're getting that, especially Tavares. So and I know that Mac at Forest Park had a kid, but I think he actually just left
Yo, I heard he transferred to Landon.
like a week right before the season started.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So he had a kid that was a Division I kid, but it's always tough. We're only playing our side this year because of the non-district I spoke about. So I'm not really playing anybody from over on that side during the regular season. But I know that they're going to battle out. It's going to be a tough situation. So,
Anyone have any other comments about Region 6B before we go back to
I want to see the kid. Is it Nate from Colgan?
I haven't really seen him.
So I want to see what he does this year because he got a lot of hype behind him from the summer and the fall. And
right.
Like everybody, everybody
right.
knows
Like
his
a
name.
6'7" wing, right?
I want to see what he does this year. If it's real or if it's hype. That's what I really want to see that because that kid, he do got some talent though, from a little bit from some of the highlights I saw, but I just want to see it.
Right. I mean, he's playing for a coach that won back-to-back state championships when he's at Colonial Ford. So, you got to think that they're going to be pretty tough as well. And then, Barry always puts out a pretty good product over at Hilton. So it's one of those things that just, it's, you look at it and, I'm sure that I might make some people upset when I say it, but it's us until it's not. And then over on the other side, it's Potomac until it's not. And that's just the way it is.
did a player from Bishop Ireton, did he stay at Potomac?
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah, he's
okay. All right, let's go to the Region 6D, which is the northern region. Let's go to Liberty first. Liberty is it's Yorktown, it's McLean, Langley, Herndon, Washington, Liberty, Wakefield now, right, Coach? Yeah, you guys moved over. So who are some of the players and teams to look for? I mean, obviously Bobby's got a lot coming back. He's young. He was young last year. Unfortunately, our thoughts and prayers are with his kid. Braylon lost his last name. Coach Bentley.
Braylon.
Yeah. He's a really well-liked kid. I know the kids at Yorktown liked him a lot as well. I hate to hear that, but Bobby has a strong team coming back. What about Bobby's team and what about the rest of the district?
I mean, it's not even close. I mean, Bobby's should run away with our conference. I mean, you got to play the games.
Right.
Anything can happen, but they are really good. They've been playing together since they were sophomores. He lost one kid from last year's team. That he's going to lose a lot with that kid, being graduation. But they returned James McIntyre, who is one of the toughest kids around. Get you a bucket at any point. And then Brian Weiser is a kid who, you don't talk about him. He's 6'3", 6'4". He's up at the front of Bobby's 1-2-2 press, and he just gets his hands deflections on everything. Leads to a lot of steals and turnovers. Then they got the big hoss down low. I mean, this kid is Division I football player.
Oh, sorry.
He's a grown man, Elijah Hughes. I mean, he can score at any time underneath the basket, but he's not just, on the block. I mean, he runs, he defends. I mean, he switches and he gets caught on a guard. He can defend the guard if he needs to be. He's very athletic. Then he's got a bunch of guys that are around him that are shooters. Bobby's got a lot of shooters this year. They're going to play his style of basketball. They've been together for a long time. So hands down, they should and will be the favorite in our conference. And then, of course, Marshall returns a good player by the name, I think his name is Matt Leonard.
Yeah, Leonard.
Leonard, he's really good. And they've got pieces around him as well. And Jerry's been doing a good job with, continuing that program success. So they're probably going to be, second around there. I think we're not going to, bow down to anyone, but, with some experience coming back, we've got, some tough guys in there. Langley has a new coach, but I think they've been doing a really good job in the summer and the fall. I don't know all the kids' names, but I know they've been doing a good job with preparing themselves for the season. They won't, be overlooked. McLean, people never talk about McLean, but Michael Bryan does one of the best jobs of anybody in Northern Virginia. I like him a lot. We played each other 3 times last year, and I think all 3 games came down to, a turnover here or there for us at the end or whatever. But they do a great job every single year. I don't think a lot of people are talking about Coach Q, Coach Kevin Quinlan out at Herndon. He always has his guys prepared and ready to go. And I think this year may be a year that they get over that hump out there in Herndon. So don't ever discredit Coach Quinlan's teams. And then Yorktown, they have a lot, they lost a lot, I guess, should I say. But, I think Coach Reed is still, doing the 5 in, 5 out, a little bit here, a little bit there, he's tinkering around with it. Because he has a good guard by the name of Ben Cullum, who is crafty. If he gets to the left, he's going to kill you. And then Liam Vetters is a kid that probably nobody even is talking about. He's a 6'5", back to the basket guy, but he can also step out and shoot threes. And I guess finding some pieces around those guys is going to be good for Yorktown as well, too. I don't think I left out anybody in the Liberty
No, I
District.
think you got it
Yeah.
all. I went to, I'm sorry, Coach.
Yeah, no, just it should be a competitive league. But I think with Coach Dobson and his kids being there since sophomores and now they're seniors, and they're also playing for something this year with the passing of Braylon. Those kids are really locked in and focused in on what it is that they're doing, and should be a good year for those guys.
It's great gyms in that district. Like every gym, they're small and they get a great crowd noise.
You got the good atmospheres and the old school Wakefield gym, like the small gyms, they're right up on you. I mean, our gym is probably the biggest, and it ain't the best to play at all the time unless it's packed. But it's always good atmospheres at those smaller Fairfax County school gyms, which is great.
And I love like Marshall's gym is crazy because it's just so small.
Yeah, they're right up on you.
Yeah, right up on you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Coach. Anyone else have anything to say about the Liberty District while we're on it, or should we go to the Concord? So next is the Concord. I believe Concord is South Lakes, Centerville, Westfield, Madison, and Oakton.
Chantilly.
And Chantilly. Okay. Yeah. So what about the Concord district? I know Desmond, obviously you guys were defending champs, and Coach Kevin's coming in this year as well.
Kevin, I'm going to defer to you and your 2 rings, bud. I'm gonna let you
my
lead.
first high school game, there was no jump ball, so I'm deferring to you.
They had the cage. They had the cage underneath the hoop when the ball came through.
I think our district's interesting. I think, probably Madison's got to be your favorite going into with their length and some of the returning kids. Obviously, I'm biased. I think I love the Franklins. Derek and I go way, way back. Probably my best friend on the planet. And, I think his kid Miles is going to have a great year.
I do too.
And, Kevin Roll always runs good stuff. And I think that's where after them, I think our district's I think it becomes interesting because, you have Kevin coming in with his pedigree of championships and just playing in the last game and having just success on top of success that he built at Centerville. It wasn't like he walked in and was given great things. He had to build it. So I think that makes Westfield interesting. I think Heitner at Centerville is interesting because, I say we're young. I think they're even younger this year. So, sometimes we have young kids. They don't know that they're supposed to be afraid of a certain situation. So maybe they'll just play hard. Rodney at Chantilly, I know he lost some things, but I also know he's loved his younger groups the last 2 years. And now those kids are stepping onto the 7:30 stage for him. And then, my guy, Dave Brooks at Oakton, rumor has it, they're going to play fast and they're not going to sit in so many 2-3s, and Dave's not going to run 113 sets per quarter. And he's going to let those guys kind of get up and down. I know, they got the big Logan kid inside as a shot blocker. The Rosenblock kid comes back. I think he's a 3-year varsity guy. And then he has 2 sophomores who are really good. The Jones kid's a shooter. And then he graduated an older kid with the last name Toole last year. And I think he brought the younger brother up who was a freshman. And last year was a freshman at the end of the year for the varsity playoffs or whatever. But I think the kid's the best athlete in the school. For what I hear, the kid's like bounce it, go get it, under the like windmill. He's their starting quarterback. So, maybe Dave will probably try not to sit in 2-3 zone and run again 1 million sets. And if those guys get up and down, that changes. Oakton, and then you have to prepare for a different animal. So, I think the Concord, I think it's Madison right now, and then the rest of us.
With that,
Kevin, you gonna chime
how's
in
that
here?
big kid?
Carlos?
How's the big kid from Madison? I haven't seen him yet, but I just been hearing things.
We scrimmaged him. He's pretty good. I mean, he can shoot the three. He's athletic. He's long, very aggressive.
Player of the year candidate?
I don't think he's the best player on their team right now, but he's obviously got the most potential. He's young.
He's a young kid.
Their point guard's real solid. And then they got the wing guard is like 6'2", played Nova Cavs this summer, who's a really good player. And then they got Franklin's son, who's good. I mean, they're a good team. I thought their depth after the top 6 or 7 guys was not as deep, but they're big too. Like they're like 6'8", 6'5", 6'4", 6'3".
Yep.
They're big. Like they're really big.
When I saw Madison last year, sometimes they would be really on and they played fantastic. And then I caught them in a couple games where they just couldn't score, or it wasn't their night.
I think that was last year's live by the 3, die by the 3, and that's not who they are this year.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay, well, let's go to, unless anyone else had to say anything to say
Kevin.
about, huh? Kevin, you're
Coach
gonna
Harris,
No, I'm good. I'm good. I was
You're
the
good.
lead right here,
Kevin's gonna keep his cards close to his chest. So let's go to Occoquan. We have the Patriot, and what's the other district in the Occoquan?
National.
National, that's right. So let's start with National. And I guess word on the street is that Hayfield might be the favorite in that one. So we've talked about your team, Carlos. What else we look at? I got some flack because when I was talking to Chris Jolly, I called the National maybe weaker than some of the other districts. And I did hear about that comment. So educate me, Coach Carlos. What else do you have in the National District?
So all I know about is Edison to the, to be truthfully honest, because I pay attention more close to them because they're our rivals, and they're right down the street. I do feel like Edison is going to be really, really solid this year. I want to see what Trey Ford does, in his first year.
Who's the coach over there?
Trey Ford.
Oh, yeah. Okay, my man. Okay, just check.
But I'm looking forward to see, he's bringing in a new flavor. They got the big kid Nader, and they got the sophomore guard, Saunders. So, I'm looking forward to see what they do. And then you got Annandale with the Niels kid, who's really, really good.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah.
Got a, he looked like he hit the weight room a lot too.
Oh.
He got a nice college body, can shoot the piss out the basketball. But I don't know who else they have on their team, but I do know Niels is.
I believe he committed to Hood College over the summer. Is that right?
Yeah, I knew he committed somewhere. I just didn't know where.
No, he's going to Catholic.
Oh, it's Catholic. That's right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
They had a 6'3" light-skinned kid. Looks like a mixed kid that was good also.
He's getting some interest from York College. Annandale's going to be really good. Don't sleep on.
I don't sleep on anyone.
They're going to be really good. They've got.
I only know players. I know the Niels kid is a player.
Yeah, they got senior laden team. I think this will be their year to be good. I don't think after that it's going to be much, but I think they're going to be really good this year. So sorry about that, but yeah.
And then they got a new
Coach
coach
Annandale.
too, from Justice. The assistant coach from Justice took
Jerome.
on Annandale job.
Yep.
And then I think TJ is an improved team. They got the 6'7" kid that has gotten a lot better. Saheed, I think. I could be butchering his name. I'm not sure, but about 6'7", can shoot it a little bit, athletic. Back to the basket as well. He's getting stronger. And then who else we got? Falls Church has the kid DJ, left-hander, about 6'4", could do a little bit of everything. But who am I missing? Who else is in our TJ?
Lewis.
No, Lewis.
Oh, I don't know anything about Lewis at all.
Justice.
My man, you don't sleep on anybody. Can't even name on Jesus.
They had the Lewis had the big kid. They had 2 big kids last year that graduated. I have no idea who's there yet. But as the season goes on, I'm gonna figure out who these players are.
Hey, Coach Bentley, how many of your former assistant coaches are now head coaches or have been head coaches?
It starts all the way back. Angelo Hunt was with me my first 3 years, and so Angelo is that John Paul the Great.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Robinson was with me for 2 years, maybe 3. He's at South County, and you got Dietrich Gilreath, who was with me for 7 years or something like that. He's now at Colonial Forge, and then now Trey is at Edison. which you did a great interview with him, but you never even talked about me. But that's
I
okay.
know.
Don't worry about it.
I
Don't worry
just,
about it.
hey, I'm not here waiting.
Don't worry. I cussed him out too. Don't worry about it. It's cool. It's
No,
cool.
it was he mentioned you. I just forgot to.
Yeah.
So-
He gave all the credit to my man at BI, but that's okay.
Yes.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tony, you're giving me a hard time about being old. When you have that many assistant coaches that are coaching, somebody else is getting old. So yeah. But all right, let's go to the Patriot district, and I'll let coaches House and Craig divide this up. But last year, probably the most balanced district, and maybe the most talented as well last year. So what about this year? You want to go first, Dave, or?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were by far had the most talented district last year, top to bottom. I thought 1 through 8. Our 8 maybe wasn't as strong as some others, but 1 through 7, was going to be a challenge every single night. I think it's probably going to be very similar. I mean, at the top, I don't know if it's going to be necessarily crazy top heavy, but I think South County is. I saw them play all summer as everybody else did. They're very, very talented, lots of depth, a lot of returners. They play hard. The rest of the league is going to be good. I mean, I just think everybody is going to be really good. I mean, I think it's not a lot of turnover with regards to coaches. So, styles and stuff, Lake Braddock is going to be there again. Obviously Doug talked about himself, how good they're going to be. I think we play hard. I think our league is a attrition league that, it's 14 games. So you got to try to make it through all of them. And it's going to be tough. So, we were a 5 seed last year, had to go on the road twice or 3 times really to win. I don't know if it'll be a 5. Hopefully we're not 5 again, but it definitely doesn't have to be the number 1 seed in our league, I think, to win.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think South County's the favorite. I think, I look at Hayfield, South County, and Patriot as arguably the 3 best teams in the state in 6A. I think South County's really deep, really deep. I mean, they can almost field 2 varsity teams. They got so many guys. Very athletic. They play great defense. They got 2 kind of rangy 6'3", 6'4" defenders, Paul Anderson and Jamal Miles, who are really good. And then they got Jamison Lynham, who is one of those kids who could, have no points going to the 4th quarter and end up with 20. He's just kind of mercurial, and he can make a lot of shots. He plays with a lot of confidence, a lot of energy.
What's
they're
our
very
point
good.
guard's name?
Jamison Lynham.
I like him.
Yeah, he can really play. I mean, his freshmen and JV were both, I think, undefeated last year, and he had 6 freshmen on JV. I mean, they're a factory down there right now. They just got a lot of talent, and they're deep, and he does a good job with them. Fairfax, I didn't hear anybody mention them. They have arguably, I mean, there might be some guys who are better college prospects. I'm not sure there's a better high school basketball player than Margot Troy-Gilserin in our area. Yeah. I mean, he's really, really tough. He's a tough cover. He's big. He can score in a lot of different positions. Very smart player. He's really, really good player. He's really good. And then they got a bunch of guys who are really tough around him that play defense, and some younger guys that can shoot the ball. I think they're going to be very good. I
understand Rojas is not playing basketball this year.
Rojas, I think he's going up early to Penn State for football, but they got other guys. I mean, the Ronnie Peters kid's a similar type of player. They got some other guys. They had 3 or 4 sophomores on varsity last year. They didn't play a ton. I think.
Well, I got to step in. That's a factor. All right.
Yeah.
You lose a Penn State early recruit.
That's
as a
true.
Linebacker, that's obviously you're going to the league material. They didn't have many guys like him. He was. I thought he was. I don't even think he was a skilled basketball player. He was just a athlete, brute out there. And if they have somebody that can replace him, well, good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I think, and then obviously Lake Braddock, Coach Metris, they're gonna do something. Whether they play fast and crazy, they might just slow everything down this year and play in the 20s again. I don't, you never know quite what. I know they're big. I saw them this fall. They're huge. And then Coach Howson's going to be good. I think by the end of the year we're going to be all right. And it's just, it's another year in the Patriot, just of a lot of deep athletic good teams with a lot of good players. But I think South County's the favorite in our league. I mean, I definitely think with what they have returning, I think the other teams all kind of lost significant pieces. I'm not sure I mean, I know they lost Kenyani Lee, but they pretty much have everybody else back. So I'm looking at them as kind of the favorite to start the year.
Anyone else want to chime in about the Occoquan, Patriot International?
Yeah, I think Woodson would probably win 5 more games if Doug Craig would give up and shave his head.
And take the beard off too, right? Yeah.
Only worth 3 games. I told you that over text. Only
Exactly.
worth 3
So-
more wins.
Well, guys, look, this has been great. I just thought we'd end by let's just talk briefly about the kids that played Northern Region last year. How are they doing in college? If any of them are getting significant minutes and how it's going, and also kids that have signed early. I know Darren Harris, who's not a public school kid, but his parents are, so we'll include him and signed with Duke. Gibraltar Coleman, his dad Jason and Lake Braddock signed at American. Greg Jones, American. Margod, I know Margod has got a scholarship from Shepherd. Hopefully he'll continue to get more offers, unless that's where he wants to go. But what about, first of all, last year? Any players from last year doing well this year, and also early signees for next year?
I don't have any signings, but like 3 of my 5, like Cooley's playing a little bit at Williams, Finney's playing a little bit at Elizabethtown, and Kyle Tang's playing like 25 minutes a game or something like that at Lebanon. So
That's good.
glad to see those guys pick schools at their talent level, and they're getting an opportunity to do those things and continue their basketball.
Anyone else? Carlos, I know you had Pratt playing at Union. Is he getting some playing time?
So he's no, he's not playing. He's not getting any clock at the moment.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But,
I guess it's tough down there. Mhm.
But I'm happy about, I want to shout out DJ Holloway, man. He just got an offer from Belmont Abbey.
Oh, awesome.
Happy about that one. He was the last one to get any type of look. So, he's been, a cornerstone of how great we've been over the past couple of years. And I'm glad that, he offered. Hopefully he accepts. I mean, more looks that he might get an offer. We got Cal PA coming down versus Patriot to check out, his guy and my guy. So, looking forward to that.
That's great. Demetrius played and coached at Belmont Abbey. I'm sure you probably know that, but
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, that's awesome. Anyone else that we can think of, guys?
We got a couple guys. Courtney Davis, he's playing up at Brian Stratton up in New York.
So that worked out okay. There was some drama with him at Shenandoah, right?
Yeah, like I said, they made it a questionable decision that I didn't necessarily agree with, but it is what it is. Recruiting is recruiting, and as we all know. And then Nick Marrero, the shooter we had last year, he's at Thiel University up in Pennsylvania. He playing a little bit. Got us a freshman this year, but was at prep the year before. Trey Nelson, the guard we had, he's at the University of Mount Olive there. And I'm just talking about guys now that are, not necessarily last year. But as far as guys going for this year, Nasir just got a few, like Mitris, the brother at Augusta, came in and talked to him in the school. So they like him a lot. And Seton Hill liked him a lot. At one point Shepherd was talking to him a little bit. So nothing that he's committed to yet. And then obviously Jay Randall's been on the football field, so he's got some things going on with that. We only have one other senior, so we'll see what happens with that as he plays through the season.
Yeah. It's still a scary thought when a guy like Margod doesn't have a Division I offer yet. It just goes to show you how competitive it is. And maybe from COVID in the 5th year graduate players are still kind of clogging up the system a little bit, because it does seem like it's still really hard. I know Greg and Gibraltar and Darren signed. That's great, but I just figured we get a few more Division I's out of it, and maybe it's yet to come.
You're gonna see it in the next couple of years in the public school for sure. It's coming back full circle. I know it's been a while, and they've been really about the privates, but throughout the entire DMV, I just think the 2024 class is really, really good, like just overall. So.
Right.
I will, because I was just down there today, down in Harrisonburg, watching Andre Pacheco play down at Eastern Mennonite.
Oh.
He's a lot like Kyle Tang. He's playing about 25 minutes a game. He's getting a lot of time. He's their sixth man. He closes games for them. Been real steady for them. So I know they're really pleased with him. I was actually just down there today. So they got a win over Marymount today. So
Isn't
That's
Doug's
Marymount
guard?
first loss too, right?
I'm not sure if it was Marymount's first loss, but it was 80 to 67. A lot of points.
Jeez.
Los, your guys at Mary Washington still, right?
Yeah, Peterson and Mary Washington. I got
Yeah,
Peterson, Mary Washington.
And then him and Zach, they upset.
Yeah, him and Zach, they real cool.
Yeah, Zach Blue played for us. They upset Randolph-Macon to start the season. They were ranked number 1, so that was a big win for them.
And Coach Craig, is that Doug Yule's player?
Will Vetter.
Vetter. Is Vetter
He's
at
at
Eastern
Bridgewater.
tonight, or is he Bridgewater? Oh, Bridgewater.
He's at Bridgewater.
He's at
yeah.
Bridgewater. Yeah, he's at Bridgewater.
That's nearby though, right? They're like
I think they're
Marymount?
both in Harrisonburg, aren't they? I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah, right there. So
One of my guys is not a Westfield guy, Chris Kazemka.
yeah,
Loyola.
Yeah, how's he doing?
He had 12 points yesterday. They won by 1 against Louisiana Monroe. He played like 25 minutes, so it was good for him.
he did.
Does
That's what.
Big Boy play on the football field?
Say again?
Is he playing? Big Boy playing on the football field?
Avery's not playing at the moment. No, he's not. He's looking
Yeah.
at transfer right now.
Oh,
But Ryan Newell from Centerville's team last year is at Stevenson, and they actually played Loyola Maryland in an exhibition game. So I got a chance to go up and see both of those guys play against each other. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw your old player Doyle at Flint Hill a couple times this summer. It'll be interesting to see how he fits in at Flint Hill.
Yeah, he's a great kid. He works so hard.
He does. And it's a different league because there's so much height in there. And he's I guess you call them combo guards now, whatever.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how he fits in. But he's an explosive player. So we'll see how obviously wish him the best. And his dad was a great shooter as well. So
Hey, but I do feel like it's some really good talent, around here. And like Sherman said, some of the younger guys are really going to, reap the benefits of what's been going on lately.
Yeah.
That 24 class, 25 class, like some really good young dudes that's coming up. That's going to make some noise, especially this year. Like it's going to make some noise. So
Yeah.
it's going to be good to see.
yeah, and Coach Harris, do you see those deep benches that you see at these private schools like Paul VI, O'Connell? We're seeing kids bounce back. We mentioned today a kid from St. Stephen's is back in the public schools.
Right.
Obviously, Chris came back to Centerville.
And Avery did too.
And Avery
Yeah,
did too.
both
Are some of the kids getting frustrated at a school with so much talent that they're coming back to the public schools?
I don't know. I can't speak for anybody else's kid. I mean, my kid's happy. He's good,
No, not your
But I
kid.
think
But I mean,
anybody who's not playing, who expects to play, is going to be frustrated at any school, private or public.
yeah. So maybe that'll give us some opportunities.
Yeah. Dude, Doug has the most experience of kids leaving, but still not playing. It's the craziest thing. Like they would be superstars at Woodson, but they choose to leave to go to Paul VI and not play.
It's his haircut.
It's
Well-
I mean, teach his own though. Teach his own.
Yeah, I mean, kids, it's America. People have the right to choose what they want. I mean, one of the things when kids talk to me about that option is I just communicate to them that, look, if you're going to go out to one of those places and be one of their top 6, 7, 8 guys, then go, because they can offer you things that we can't. But I've never understood the idea of going out there to be the 12th man, and
Correct.
sit on the bench when you can play all the time. You can get Division I scholarships at a public school just as well as you can at a private. If you're good enough, they will find you.
Correct.
I
It's
mean,
all about who they play AU for anyway.
Yep.
yeah, they help. I mean, it does help. I mean, I'm not gonna say it doesn't. You're in PVI. You got college coaches in the gym every day, I'm sure. But I think everybody on here has had their share of college players and guys that have left our programs and done well at the next level. And I just think that it's just so enticing in this area that they want to be a part of it. Because it really is high school basketball at the highest level. But yeah, I mean, we just coach what we have, and we seem to lose one every year, but
It's the
it is what it is.
thing to me, man.
This is the first year we didn't lose a kid in the last 4 years.
You lost 2 to Fairfax Christian last year, right, Coach?
They were there at separate years. They went, but they were both there, and one of them already left there and went to Highland. So they don't listen to you when you try to give them good advice. And the problem is that you got a lot of people that have selfish reasons for giving them advice. And so when you actually try to, like you said, I'm sure Doug is the same way, try to give them good advice, and they don't listen, and they end up, making a decision that wasn't the best for them. And then next thing you know, they're at their third or fourth high school.
Yeah.
I see kids posted. This is crazy. I don't know about y'all, but I see kids, they put in the uniforms, they say year 5. Like, who put that on the internet? Year 5? Like, that's something cool to say. That is crazy to me.
Hey, Mike, Des, do you have to continue to, like, what do you have to do? Do you have to do anything special for the Scott kid, or is it just normal, just what you do now? Like, do you have to do anything extra?
Oh shit! You just said his name.
He a sophomore now.
Yeah. No. I mean, the kid is humble. He comes, shows up. His parents are great supporters, and like, again, someone just said, if you're good, you're good. And he had a tremendous spring and summer, and the Division I coaches have started looking. He's got a couple offers. We are probably going to have to change our schedule next year and play some of the quote unquote big time private schools and see what happens there. But they haven't, as a family, asked me to change anything. And they're just, I think Jordan is South Lakes through and through. He's, legacy. And, we haven't been asked to do anything different except cuss at their kid and let them shoot threes. So that's all I did.
I always wonder, just different, all the different programs who got high level kids,
Isaiah Vick's kind of like getting into that realm now for us, where he's, Boston College. I asked about him the other day. I'm like, man, this is serious. But his dad, he's a public school guy, went to Hampton High School. He is not even entertained any of those things. People have been calling and asking and DMing him and all other types of stuff. And he shuts it down immediately. So,
yep.
No, that's good, man. I mean, it's always good to, hopefully everybody can keep their kids, especially
right.
The ones that's poaching and, trying to get these kids to reclass and go to private schools, different things of that nature.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's cool though. I love where we are so far in this area. Hopefully we can keep it going.
For sure.
Yeah, there's some really good public-private matchups in the early season, and those are always fun to see. Where we stand. And I think last year, Los, you had a big win over BI. It was kind of an emotional win because I remember I wasn't there, but I saw it on the internet. You guys had some fun over there, and so it's always nice when you can get a nice win over a private school team.
Had a dunk fest over there.
Yeah.
It's always good when you get one of those type of games.
Did that surprise you that you guys won by so much?
No.
Coach Poindexter, tell us about the warm-ups.
Right. They put the battery in the back.
Yeah.
But nah, it's all good, man. Like I said, I love where we are. Hopefully, our kids continue to get better and grow and become college level basketball players for all levels. Just hope that continues.
Yeah, and the one thing the public
Keep
schools
it
have.
coming.
Yeah. The one thing the public schools have, even like we're talking with Coach Bentley about the Liberty District, even if the talent level is not always the highest, from top to bottom, the gyms, the electricity and the enthusiasm in the gym, it's amazing. I went to, probably 10 Yorktown games last year. I just love watching, just being there and listening to the kids yell. So it's a good environment. So
Hey, I didn't do a good representation of my district, but I feel like every year they do a good job in the regional tournament and getting 1 to 2 wins throughout the region. It don't be a cakewalk like how everybody try to.
Too late.
You forgot 2 teams. Like
He said, who else in our district, guys? Like, what?
Hey, before we wrap, and Bentley, I think you'll probably support this a little bit. My guy's gonna kill me if I don't shout him out. All right, so I got to say, what's up to my guy KP at Woodgrove? He's going to be the king of the mountain, young man. We are excited for you. We know you're going to do a great job out there.
yeah, Loudoun County has some talent as well. Coach,
You got an NIL deal or something like that, man? Would you get like $10?
Look,
for
that's
that?
my
Like,
dude.
what?
That's my guy.
Hey,
That's
good
my
guy, man. Good young guy, man. He wanted to get in our
I'm just
fall league
messing
at the
with you.
last minute, and I gave him the gauntlet. He played everybody in the Patriot. and he showed up every day, man. His team's gonna be really good. We're really good. Another young coach, man, but he's under Mike's tutelage, so I don't know, man. It might not be a good thing. So
Yeah. Where did he play, Coach Bentley? Where did he play his
that's
basketball?
Mike's guy. I know he's out in Percival. He was driving every weekend to Wakefield every weekend, man, and
Yeah.
they showed up every day to play, man. And Percival is a long ride, so he's all 2 feet in, man. He's ready to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was at,
we played them in the fall. I always respect that. I was just giving you a hard time. I
Yeah.
respect anybody that we used to play Falk here all the time in like summer leagues and fall leagues, and they would travel all the way out to Fairfax County to play. So I respect anybody that's trying to just get it in. You know, he's trying to play and play really good teams. He has a solid. Me and Mike, you and I talked about that during that game. You know, they got a solid young crew coming in. But yeah, I respect any young coach, especially who's traveled to play. I mean, when I first got the job, we traveled to play. Whatever you got to do.
I would give a shout out to my guys, Mike Barbie and Dermy and Marshall, but they've been doing this long enough. They don't need any shout out now. Everybody knows that they know what they're doing.
Coach, one of my favorite
Frankly,
pitchers.
they're in our league now. I don't really like them very much anymore.
Hey, Coach Craig, one of my favorite pictures on our Facebook group is a picture of you, Mike, and Dermy. You're sitting there laughing at something on the bench. I don't know what you're laughing at, but it's
Probably something I said or did that was wrong.
I'm sure, but it's a great picture of you guys. You guys are up to no good. So
And did we bring up Alexandria City?
no, we didn't talk about them.
Man, I feel like they're like a dark horse in that
Very good team.
this year.
Westcott picked him number 19 in his Nova 19. His
Yeah,
first
they're
ranking.
very. They should be very good.
And
Those-
low key, they're gonna be
Those two Robinson brothers are good. The big kid's good, and they got a bunch of it's Alexandria City. They always have some athletic guys around them. They're going to be good.
What was the kid that he was on Pro Love? What's the kid that was from Pro Love?
Cullen Robinson.
Cullen Robinson, yeah.
Walking bucket. Most quiet kid. He don't talk. He ain't flashy, but you look up, he's got 25 and he can rebound. Cullen is a really good player. And his brother, they're two totally different guys. Cullen is, hello, how you doing? And his brother's like, what's up? So they are two different guys, but they're going to play well together. And I'm happy for them that they get an opportunity to finish out, Cullen finished out his high school career with his brother. So
Sure.
they should
He's
be.
only a junior though, isn't he?
Yeah. The younger
Cullen's a
brother is
junior, right?
younger. He's a junior and Cullen's a senior. Yeah.
Oh, Cullen's a senior. He's the
Yeah.
lefty. He's the lefty, right?
No, Cullen's not a lefty.
Oh, okay. All right.
Colin was the one that was at West Springfield last year.
Yes, number 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, got it.
Yes, he's really good.
Well, what's
Really
the
good.
lefty's name at TC or Alexandria City? Sorry. Lefty guard. I'm in that conference, so if I'm messing it up, I'm
I
sorry.
know. I
yeah,
think
you're like being Carlos right now.
I think his brother's left-handed. His brother
His
left-handed.
brother is left-handed.
But then
Kyle.
Kyle. Yeah, he was number 1 last year.
Kyle, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Kyle.
Their brothers are now they're playing back together. So excited for both of those guys, man.
Who's coaching at Alexandria City? And I hopefully they'll have a smoother season this year.
Sully.
Assistant coach got the job.
Yeah, Coach
Right.
Sully. He
The one
was
that took it over
coach.
last year.
Yeah, he did a good job for them at the end. So he's just picked right back up from when he started. So they're gonna be definitely really good. Really
I
good.
think there's high expectations in that building.
Always.
Yeah. So well, anyway, guys, look, I appreciate you guys getting together with me on a Sunday night. Thanks for all you do. I know you guys, you work real hard off season, and this is this is what you work for. And hopefully, things go your way this season. Guys have some fun, win a whole bunch of games. Last year we won a lot of games on this call, a lot of titles and stuff. So, hopefully we can do some more of that this year.
Well, just keep Carlos on his shit. We'll keep that number up.
We're gonna spread the wealth.
Yeah, he had 32 of them last year. Shoot.
Carlos and Sherman are good for 60 wins this year.
There you go. Right. Damn
Oh
right.
no, the way my schedule built, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you guys didn't
Stop
put
it.
those. You didn't put those undefeated schedules together. You guys got some tough schedules. So.
Well, one of us ain't gonna be undefeated on Thursday.
On Thursday.
Oh, right.
1000% about that.
Well, I'll be there on Thursday, guys. Look forward to it.
Hey, good luck to everybody, man.
Same, man.
Well, hey, I got a question to bring up. Sorry. Before we go, and this is actually important because Sherman and I was actually talking about this recently. It's been an unwritten rule in the past not to scout scrimmages. All right. I think it's been an unwritten rule, but
Oh, I'll talk about this.
but
Yo,
I've
I'll
seen,
talk about
but
this.
I've seen people in the stands.
We
This is
we
pre-pandemic.
had coaches at our game on Saturday.
Oh, I know this. I saw them. Pre-pandemic, you know, I grew up with Coach Dick Wickline was my mentor. So you know, he's 85 now. So like I've always known, like you just don't do that. So I've never gone into games, but I noticed pre-pandemic, a few scrimmages, couple years, I started seeing a coach here or there in the stands, etc. Now it's NFHS. Right. So, I mean, I've had 2 scrimmages, and so far I've seen 3 head coaches at 2 of our scrimmages. All right. I ain't gonna say who they are, but they know who they are if they're listening to this joint. But NFHS is an option, obviously, to watch it. I know our girls team got theirs, and I'm going to get, you know, ours taken down from, you know, the other night. They got it taken down, but I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on that, because obviously everybody can scout the scrimmages, you know, just by clicking on. Some people are still getting in the car and driving to the scrimmages. Yeah, I'd like to hear you. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on that.
Very technologically.
Oh my God, this is amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like I said, I don't send scrimmages. You know, maybe it's just one of those unwritten things. I don't know. I'll send you anything else you want, but like scrimmage, I'm like, listen, I just don't. And it's just one of those things. Even if I don't like the person or not, I still wouldn't do it. You know, just I don't know.
So like Bentley and Doug, since you know, Houseman already said how you feel. What about y'all two? Y'all are like the next coaches who've been here the longest.
Yeah, you guys are old.
I ain't gonna say that.
I've never been to a scrimmage, and I am from the old school where we used to go out and watch games and, you know, actually figure out how to take notes and watching it, because there's nothing like seeing a game and that night seeing a kid up close instead of watching it, you know, on film or whatever. Gotta watch it, of course. But I'm from the old school. If I have a night off, I'd rather go to watch a game, because, you know, it's not like in football where they give out the tapes every Friday or whatever.
Right.
So we are around asking people for tapes. Can we get the tape? Can we get this? Like, we're being sneaky. Like, everybody knows everybody's trading everybody's tapes.
Right.
It is what it is. So, but I don't, me personally, maybe if I was Mike in my 3rd or 4th year, maybe I'd go to a scrimmage. I don't know, because, but now I'm like, shit, it is what it is. You know, I don't go to a scrimmage, but I'll try to go out to as many games as I can. See, that's just me, because I like to see it. Like, you can't see it on film. And I like to watch coaches too when I go to scrimmages. I want to see how they're reacting to certain situations and things like that. So I'm not there to just watch the kid. We had a great story. I'll be quick. I know it's late. We were scouting Jefferson back in the day, and they had a kid named Kramer Dover. I might have told y'all.
Noah. Yeah.
Noah Kramer Dover. So we go to the game. It was me, Dobson, Buck, and Dave Atkins, who was assistant coach with us at the time. Now he's with Portland or whatever. So we go and we split up. Dobson and I had Jefferson, and Buck and Dave had Mount Vernon. And we're writing notes, watching the whole game. At the end of the game, we came up with the same conclusion. We're playing Jefferson the next night. Kramer Dover does not like to go left. Kramer Dover does not like pressure. Kramer Dover really can't shoot it. We go play Jefferson the next day. We're down 24-4, and Kramer Dover is going left all night and shooting jumpers in our face. That was just an off night that kid had, or whatever, you know, Mount Vernon did. It happened. So you can watch tape all you want. You know, when you got athletes that I used to have a backdoor lob play that we ran at the beginning of the game every time. Everybody knew it was coming, and you still got dunked on.
And still,
Where you get that play, Coach?
Yeah, huh? Yeah. Whoever it was, it didn't matter.
Where you get that play from, though, Coach?
No, I got the second one. We used to call it West Pole. That was, I called it West Pole. Listen, when I saw something, I liked it, I gave that person props and called
credit,
it West Pole, or I called it Mike Desmond. I don't give a shit. It was a good play, and I had to remember it. I named it after what I saw. So that second backdoor lob play was called West Pole, which was an easy little, oh my God, easy little screenplay. Yeah, we still stuff from each other all the time, right?
Yeah.
So it's what Kevin said at the beginning of this conversation. You better have some talent. We can sit up here, we the best coaches. Man, if you ain't got no talent,
it don't matter.
It don't matter. So you can watch film, you can prepare, but whatever night it may be your kid's night, maybe an off night, injuries, you just have to keep doing what you're doing to prepare yourself. But I don't go to scrimmages. If we go all the way back, I'll let Doug talk. I don't go to scrimmages, but I'm gonna try my best to go to a game if I can get there as best possible.
Yeah, I have never scouted a scrimmage. I've never watched NFHS of another scrimmage. I always feel like at this time of the year, I got so much to worry about with my own team. I don't really worry about what everybody else is doing. I mean, honestly, until about first term through the district, I really kind of focus more on what we're doing more than I do, focus on what everybody else is doing. Not that I don't look at some film, but we have so much to fix on our own that it's kind of hard to get into the game plan. I feel like the second time through the district, that certainly comes into play a lot more. I like to go watch games in person too for the same thing. I think the eyeball test in person, you kind of see how big they are, how fast they are. That shows up a little bit better than film does. And sometimes I like to go watch games of not even teams I'm playing against, but I always feel like when it comes to like all region voting and things like that, sometimes I like to go watch another team, a kid play, just to go see how good he is. Cause I think like we don't see, Chantilly play very often, but if they have a really good player that I know is going to be up for all region vote, we're not in the same region anymore, but I might go watch them just to see the kid play, because it's hard. Once you get into your own district play, you're so focused on the 7 or 8 teams in your district, you don't get a chance to really get outside your district much. So I don't go scout scrimmages, but I exchange tape freely. I kind of like Coach Desmond too. Like, you want to come watch my practice, come watch my practice. At the end of the day, you still have to get your kids to stop it.
I'm with that. Yeah.
And I like to exchange ideas. If you ever came to my practice, I'd probably sit and talk to you for half the practice, trying to pick your brain on things. And hey, we run our shell drill this way. How would you do it? That's how we learn and get better. I think as coaches, we collaborate. And I actually think, it's one of the things I think a lot of the guys on this panel, I know if I want to put in a press, I know Coach Bentley, I can call him up and ask his opinion on something, because I think, and same thing, if he would ever need, not that he does, but ever need anything from me, he can call me up and I'm sharing information. I got no problem. I think Coach Desmond asked me one time about a play. I drew it up for him after the game.
We were scouting you. We played you in a week, and I go, hey, can you do that again slowly for me?
Yeah.
And Duggan's like, yeah, Mike missed it. And you took my notepad and go, oh, here it is.
It's very Larry Bird. It's a very Larry Bird thing.
No, it's not that.
I'm
It's
show you
just-
what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do
Tony,
it.
I need those lob plays though. I need those.
Yo,
Yeah.
you got the athletes to do it. I'll send them to you. Trust me.
Thank you, sir.
Hey Tony, you I forgot what year it was. It might have been 2015. My man, he scored his 1,000-point on the live play,
On the dunk, Damo.
and I called it out, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't
Yeah,
matter.
I need that.
I didn't know it was called Westfield though. That's crazy that it's called Westfield though.
Right.
I like that.
Hey guys, last question, Coach Bentley, have you
I
and
think-
Coach Bobby ever got into it during the game? Have you guys ever got into it before?
You're talking about my brother.
I know, but I
That
mean,
would
Bobby is
never ever happen.
you're both fierce competitors. You never got into
No, when you say get into it, like me and Bobby, never ever. Now, when Bobby walks, well, he used to, because he's a changed man now. But when Bobby would walk halfway onto the court, I would say something to the ref like, "You gonna let him be that far on the court?" Just gamesmanship between us. But as far as into it that's my brother. I love Bobby Dobson. So no, it never ever. I don't think I've ever got into any. Well, I don't know. Yeah, not Bobby. Not Bobby. That's
Bobby's
right.
a coach that he knows how to get people going. He
Oh,
can get under
definitely.
your skin. He's
Definitely.
Yeah. So, well, good. All right, guys. Well, look, again, this has been great. Thanks for all the great information. Again, wish you guys a great season. Hopefully we can get together around Christmas time like we did last year and celebrate the holidays. But I really appreciate you taking time to talk to us. And again, and best of luck.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck, fellas.
Same to y'all.
Thanks,
Look,
Julie.
everybody.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having us.
All right,
Yeah,
guys. Thanks,
awesome.
thanks,
Night,
thanks for coming,
everybody.
guys.
Thank you.